So I begin this morning with a true story. You know, I love stories. And it was told to me this week. They always come at the right time. Life comes at us at the right time, no matter what we might perceive it as being. So the story is that a 4-year-old boy runs into his mother's bedroom and starts shaking her because he wants something to eat. And his mother has lost her hearing through a series of incidents, some inner ear infection and so forth. She had lost her hearing at an early age. So she had learned with her child to explain this to him, but he wasn't getting it. He was hungry. And, Mommy, 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 I want something to eat. And she goes, wait. You know I can't understand what you're saying. So the little boy walks over to the nightstand, and he picks up her hearing aid. And he says, "Can you hear me now?" True story. True story. You know, that's why I love kids. They are just so authentic. So authentic. You know, and we are all children all the time, David. This is me at 3 months. And so as I approach my birthday this week, I thought, well, you know what? Why not use that as a visual aid? Because my title, Who Knew that this would come through all of life and stand right here today as minister? My parents didn't know it. I don't think I knew it then. But there's something within the hands that I still do today. You notice? You don't lose your gestures. You just don't lose that. Sorry. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Who knew? Do you believe I had a clue that in my future I'd be embracing ministry? Many of you have known me for a lot of years in this teaching. And in this teaching, I didn't see it, but Reverend Dr. John McEwen said to me, "You're going to be a minister." I wasn't even a practitioner yet. I said, "I don't think so." He said, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah." Well, here I am. He knew, he saw before I did. And yet I must have known at some level because he saw it. Something within me knew that this is where Spirit has shown up for me. For all of us, because we're in this together, because we're in agreement to be here. Wherever you are at any given time is part of your agreement, no matter what. So in the, oh my God situations, ask yourself, what is there here for me to understand myself at a deeper level and then to move and accept something greater? Well, you know, that something that has shown up for all of us here this morning is, that thing is Spirit. The Spirit within. With and in each of us equally. I don't have any more than anyone else, nor does anyone else have anything less than I do. It's equal. And so when I look at each one of you from up here, We're equal because we've come into an agreement here to be with each other in spirit. Modern German philosopher Immanuel Kant, how modern is this? He died in 1804. I guess that's modern. Last century. Was quoted as saying, "We are able to perceive an object because it awakens an intuitive perception within us." Well, how could it awaken an intuitive perception within us unless the medium which created the object already existed within us? So back at 3 months, this object was within me. Wow. Wow. Who knew? Who knew? The intuitive perception was not the result of perceiving the object. Did you get that? The intuitive perception was not the result of perceiving the object, but was itself the cause of the object perceived. There's no separation. It's in continuum. It's what is. And it's up to you, and it's up to me to raise the hand of awareness of it, of this awareness, of this perception. And that is that of the living spirit within. To turn to it, which is already within. There's a song that I remember, "To everything there is a season. Turn, turn, turn." We have to turn our attention away from what's the drama. Last time I said the conflama, confusion and drama. The conflama of life. It's out there. Who hasn't seen it this week? So you know what I'm talking about. So as we begin the journey into our human expressions, we don't consciously know where we will end up or how we'll get there. Do we? We don't. We can't outline every single step of our life from birth to now. I can do a talk outline, but that isn't always what I say exactly. So even in that, there is an intuitive perception that plays itself out within me. Once we start walking as humans, we make some mistakes, don't we? We stumble. We get back up. We stumble. Riding a bicycle. First is tricycle, maybe was for me anyway. Some say they began with a two-wheel without any training wheels, but I went from that to training wheels. And so little by little, I learned to balance myself on that bicycle. Life is that way. Life is that way. And once we're in motion in this life, whether we're walking or riding a bicycle, we are faced with numerous opportunities to do what? To choose. We get to choose how we live. We get to choose this next step. We get to choose a beginning of a path, maybe not the path. Because along the path, I know for myself, I've changed my mind. I've even backed up. Beep, beep, beep. So we can't, with absolute certainty, say, because we start down this path, it's where we're going to end up. No matter how good we might perceive it to be. Same way with the not-so-goods. There are times in life when we're maybe very emotional. Does that have to be our path forever? No. 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 It could be. Doesn't have to be. So we get to choose our career many times. We get to choose a relationship. We get to choose, do you want children? Do you want none, 1, 20? we can put some intention into our lives. And for many of us, those choices are what I call no-brainers. I have two perceptions of a no-brainer on that term. First one is, the no-brainer is, yeah, that's right. And you know it feels good. It's an intuitive perception. You know that Spirit is in alignment with that. Number two was what was I thinking? Brain dead and unconscious. Well, either way, it flavors our lives with the emotions, experiences, and has propelled us to right here. Right here. Who knew? Who knew? But what I do know is this. I am grateful for all of my experiences that have brought me to here. Are you? Are you? Yes. To wherever you are in your life, you're here in this wonderful, safe, loving environment that supports you, that listens to you. We feed you on Sundays. With food too. But so it's a wonderful sense of being, when you're being here, it's being fully present. Reverend Lisa this morning in her contemplation used the reserved sign off her seat. Reserve this time for you to be present, to feel Spirit, to understand at a deeper level that this is all there is, this divine moment. I also know that without any one experience that I've ever had, I would not be me, and you would not be you. Take away anything that ever happened for you or to you in your life, you would be different today. You would see life differently than you do right now. Think about it. Think about it. Can you recall a profound moment in your life that you labeled terrible and awful? I have several. I have several. For some of you, that's quite fresh. Maybe you didn't get that college education you thought you were supposed to get. Maybe you didn't get that first place or any place or a seat in the front row, or there's plenty up here, by the way, if you want to. But it needs to happen for us, every single thing we have in our life up to now. One thing I've been engaged in, and I want to use a couple of stories here to make my point about I've been evolving. Well, I always evolve, I know that, but in a more aware way. I've been entering, thanks to Hugh Collis, a member of our stewardship council, to enter an old Studebaker truck in car shows. And beginning July 9th, it's been in 4. The last one was yesterday. And out of the 4 shows, it's received 3 awards. My intention is to sell it. That's what I thought. I was not for the awards. But, you know, you're there, so they judge it. Well, I got a first and a second in that order. Yesterday, what? Nothing? Nothing? I even had them laid out to show, you know, hey, this is a award-winning truck. But what I learned about myself at these shows, to place first always does feel good. To place second or not at all, it means more to learn to know, doesn't it? Because what I got to learn to know was, especially in the concourse, which is a different level of competition, that it requires more detail, more attention, more focus on the project. Sound familiar? More focus on the project, which is us. So my call to myself and to you is to remain teachable. Stay the student. Be aware of where you're judging, grading, perceiving for yourself. Dr. Ernest Holmes reminds us in his book, Open at the Top, to be aware and stay open to the divine possibility. Stay open to the divine possibility in every situation. I learned the true value of the pickup in the first show. I had no clue. I didn't know I was going to learn that. Sometimes life surprises us, doesn't it? And then in the third show, I learned, like I said, that it needs more attention to create and engage at that level of competition. Who knew? So what stops all this way of greater understanding? What gets in the way of our good? What brings on the sense of I'm not good enough, or my life is as it compares to somebody else isn't good? Well, I call them tidbits of doubt and uncertainty. They're just little tidbits. I've labeled them fear nuggets. Fear, not chicken. Fear nuggets. Well, whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. So I used the example, so in your own minds, when I was a child, older than 3 months, I was drawn to the pyramids in Egypt. Interesting that we would then move to science of mind, and we have the inverted V, which is the descent of spirit, which is the spirit coming into form through our consciousness of soil and into our realm of experience. Here we are. This idea today started in spirit, through your mind, through your action, here to show up. Now, my use of the pyramid falls below the human experience. And it goes like this. So we have the V up, and then the pyramid down. And this is all the stuff that's below the surface. Who knows about the pyramids in Egypt? Valley of the Kings. There's a rich nugget in that deep place to know for yourself. And like a pyramid in Egypt, we have to explore that. We have to excavate. We have to delve deep. And the doorway is not obvious in a pyramid, is it? It's on one side or another, and it goes up and around. There are lots of dead ends in a pyramid passageway. I've studied it. I love that whole thing. It's a whole metaphor for finding your own treasure within yourself. It's in there. But to get to the treasure, there's a lot of fear many times keeping us from it. And it's all below the surface of our experience. And yet, it contributes to it. So it's all good and well for me to use the descent of spirit. And it works great. I understand that. But I just came to the realization of what lies below all of that. And when those 2 points line up and come into perfect balance, we're able to take that out of the underneath, in deep part of ourselves and bring it up to light. And then look at it. Learn from it. Be a student in it. Fear nuggets. Who else has a fear nugget besides me? Nobody, probably. Nobody. You've all been healed. Healed. I uncovered another nugget 9 years ago. I get thirsty just thinking about it. Some of you have heard my story and some of you have not. I'm a very proactive person, especially with my health. My father had pancreatic cancer, and he died at 58 years old. And his awareness of it came from a large lump on his side of his neck. Well, I felt one of those, a lump. And I went, So I jumped on that, had it researched, had it tested. It was benign. It was a colloid cyst. I learned about a colloid cyst being a student. They grow. They don't just sit there. They move. They grow. And so I thought, I want to have this removed because I don't want this thing growing in me didn't come with the original equipment, And so I go to UC Davis, and of course I manifest the right triage, the perfect triage. Because I have a lot of people back in the day who were with me on this. Science of Mind, the Mormons, the Catholics, all of them, Presbyterians, they were all praying for me. So it's divine intervention here. So I had the surgery. It took about an hour longer than they thought. And in so doing, they removed half of my thyroid. What they didn't know until they got in there was that the cyst was wrapping itself around my larynx. And within a matter, it was near my birthday, so that period of time, 9 years ago, he said I would not be able to speak because it was restricting and closing. Every time I got emotional, So the doctor says, here's your results of your lab. There was a bit of cancer in that thyroid. Didn't know that. Buried treasure. Unknown nuggets. And so the doctor says, as proactive as you are, I would probably bet that you would want to have the other half removed as well. So I did. I said, sign me up. Interesting here. First surgery, my mother's birthday. 6 weeks later, my father's birthday. They had both passed. And yet here was all of this going in. And so I began to look at that. I began to research back on my belief and back through my history. Scroll back. And I came to my father on the phone, getting the news that his father had just died. Cancer as well. Not my experience. He put the phone down. He walked away, put his fist through a door, closed the door to their bedroom. He didn't come out. I never saw him cry. I never saw him emote. So I learned from that. He didn't tell me. I took in, there's a difference here. I took in that that's how I needed to respond, was to hold it in. That's when I found my voice. After that, I was kind of afraid to speak up. Didn't know I was going to be on that path. So it's been 9 years, and it's all good. Because I know how it started. I know the belief that was planted. I know that seed that started it. And it was profound, just profound. And so then that led to ongoing ministers' education, being selected for that. To my purpose. Finding your purpose is so sweet. And so out of all that, my purpose now is here. I'm here to serve humanity as a joy-filled voice of love and compassion. To embrace the spontaneous nature of spirit, thereby celebrating the abundant life. How does that sound? And I believe that. You can tell. I believe that. I believe that. To voice spontaneous love and compassion. That's the cliff note. And so, what I know is each of us begins this life as that seed of perfection. And we add other seeds of thought and belief along the way. But at the core of our being, there's a seed of perfection. And this seed must be germinated how? How do we manifest something we want? We put energy into it. We have to have faith. We believe. Our emotions put energy into things. Just like mine did, closing off my ability to speak. So our bodies are wonderful examples many times of how we're thinking. You know, our ability to move, or now sometimes just the awareness is good enough, you see. There's no judgment. But our awareness to come through to our experiences is so vital. So through our emotions that influence us, many times from a previous experience. How often do we want to tell our stories? Oh my, over and over. Oh my, over and over. And it's okay. It's got to come up as part of the healing. Not judging, but just bringing more awareness for us. So what I know for all of us, and I'll speak to you, beloveds, beloveds, beloveds. Look around the room. Look at a beloved, because you're looking at yourself. Look into the eyes. It's such a sweet thing when people let you in. It's like, hi, John. Or, hi, John. John's a good one. His doors are open. So's his heart. Yeah. So discover yourself. Discover what it is that makes you thrive. This teaching, the science of mind, is the tool for your spiritual archaeology. It lets you dig deep. I've had people leave class because we're digging too deep. We get scared and we flee, but not forever. Not forever. Remember, your next experience is a thought away. One thought away. It's always supported by the truth of who you are, by staying open at the top of whatever is happening at this moment. Are you limited and suffocated by fear nuggets? Well, whatever's going on, be conscious of where you are believing. Be conscious of where you are believing. Don't judge yourself. Just be conscious. Ernest Holmes says in this thing called you, divine power exists everywhere and takes form for you through your ideas, your faith. You neither create this energy nor hold it in place. All that your faith does is to form a mold through which it may take a temporary form. Form is temporary. Remember that. Temporary form. Who knew? Who knew? So allow yourself the gift of love and joy and trust. Trust yourself to take you to a deeper place of truth, of who you are. Speak it, live it, and evolve into your spiritual magnificence. Because you deserve it. Don't you? Yes. What? Yes. Didn't sound like you believe that. I got to try that one again. Don't make me use my southern preacher voice, because I will. Amen. Who knew? Who knew? Only you know. Namaste. And so it is.